Hello, my most amazing artist. I'm going to do a real quick video on a few little things for your owl because I'm giving you a little bit of extra clay and I need to show you a few little techniques. So the first thing you're going to do with your ball of clay is just kind of pat it in your hands. You want to keep it ball shape, okay? So you're patting it, but you're twisting it so that it doesn't flatten out to start with. Okay, this just helps your skin absorb some of the moisture so the clay is not so sticky. So be careful with it. We're not throwing it up in the air. We're patting it in our hands. You'll notice I haven't dropped it. Okay, when you're done with that, what I want you to do is take just a tiny bit of clay off. Not a lot. So that's just, you can see it's about the size, I can't show you hardly. It's about the size of my thumb. Okay, not a lot. You don't need a lot of extra clay. Then kind of pat this back into a ball. You just set that extra piece aside. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this and kind of smush it in your hand to make it sort of look like a hamburger. Okay, and then each table has one rolling pin, so that means that you're going to have to share it. And this part is one of the most difficult parts. So you put your rolling pin in the middle, you press up, you roll down. Okay, then you're going to flip this over. You roll up, roll down. Flip it over, roll up, roll down. Flip it over, roll up, roll down. I'm flipping it every time so that it doesn't stick to my paper. Because again, you only get one shot at this, so if your clay sticks to your paper, then it's just too bad. Okay? You just won't have a clay owl like everybody else. So heed that advice. Roll up and down, flip it over. Roll up and down, flip it over. I'm also not pressing super hard. Okay? So I'm just pressing pretty lightly. Also, I'm getting this pretty thin, so it's hard to tell, but it's pretty thin. It's evenly thin around the whole area. And what I'm going to do now is use my marker cap. Let me get it. And I'm going to make my little feathers, so you can kind of press it in. Anything that you draw that you don't like, or like any of these that you press in that you don't like, you can kind of smooth them back out, so it's not a big deal. All right, and then if you'll remember, I'm going to fold one wing over. Okay. I'm going to fold another wing over. Okay. I'm going to take the top and fold it kind of in and down. And because it doesn't really look like an owl yet, I'm going to take my fingers and just pinch the little owl ears. I'm kind of pressing this in on the side and pinching the ears up. Okay, so I'm pressing this in and pinching the ears up, or the horns, whatever we want to call them. All right, now I'm ready to make the face, and I'm ready to make the eyes and all of that. So what I can do is I can use my extra clay. Let's say I wanted to make a nose, or a beak, I should say. So I'm going to pull this off, and I might start forming it into a triangle. So I can press it onto my paper, and I'm going to start pinching it to form a triangle, because owls have triangular beaks. Okay, and then I can add that on there. But when I add it, I have to do something specific. I can't just press it on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this scratching tool, and I'm going to scratch it really good. I'll show you when I'm done. I know you can't see. So I'm scratching it up really good. I'm also going to scratch it up really good right here where it's going to go. And then I'm going to take my finger and dip it in my cup of water that I have over here. I'm just dipping it in and just letting it drip on there. Not a lot of water, because if you use a lot of water, your clay will crack. Then I'm going to press that in and I can form it a little bit better. So I have my beak. I can use my scratching tool to draw on the beak. So you decide how you want to do that. I could take my extra clay and do eyes, or I could take my extra clay and do like eyebrows. So I could just roll a piece in my hand and I could make eyebrows. And I would have to scratch them on just like I scratched the beak on. Then I could draw my eyes with my scratch and slip tool. Or I could make eyes out of this. Again, these eyebrows would have to be scratched on. I'm just not doing it so that I can show y'all. So then you can start adding, drawing in. You can use, I've got a bucket full of just things that you can press into your clay. So I could maybe make some feathery looking shapes by pressing this in. Okay. And then the very last thing that you are going to do is when you've got everything scratched and slipped on, it looks really good. You are going to look on the, roll it over to the back, take your scratch and slip tool, put your name. So I'm putting Kilgore. And then you need to put your grade level. So this is 4th. So I'm putting a 4. And then this is Miss Tittle's class. So I'm putting a T. Okay. If you're in Whitfield, you put a 4W. If you're in Peoples, 4P. If you are in, let's see, who else do I have? Miss, who am I leaving out? Miss Middendorf, 4M. And then Miss Marsh, let's do 4MA because Middendorf and Marsh would be the same initial. That way I can see whose class this belongs to when it comes out of the kiln. If you have any extra clay, when you're finished, you're going to return that to me. Okay? So, I hope you really enjoy making your owl.